notification running. Solid, solid, solid. Ooh, boy, look at this hair, man. Definitely gotta do a brush. I ain't brushed my hair in a couple of days, man. I just been a lot of scrambling, running around, things like that nature. But welcome to, another live stream and talk about Genesis 4 today. If I'm not mistaken, we already touched on 3. Um, First off, do want to show some gratitude, to the fact that we won a championship yesterday in our men's basketball league. That was fire. I'm hype about it, but my feet or my foot is not, bro. I literally pulled something in my foot when I got this N1, nasty N1 leg. Laid the whole team. I was on my Brian pointing at them each one. One, two, three, all three of them. N1. Started popping that stuff, bro. That joint was hot, man. I ain't gonna lie. But that's not what this is all about though. But that was fire though. Another thing too as well. Yesterday I started building the bed. Because my wife broke the bed, but started building the bed up to our to the full size bed in our guest room. Gonna fix that one. I was working on that yesterday. Um, that was my off day yesterday from actual work, but today I gotta go in. I'm gonna help cover a store because there's a new hire in there by himself today. But he's been doing better. He's been doing a lot better. I want to continue to work with him. I want to keep seeing his progress. I want to keep seeing his growth. So that should be fire. Don't want to leave him alone. But I got a lot of calls also too to get done today as well. So that's gonna be pretty exciting in itself. Um, what else is there? Which I should probably put together a nice little PowerPoint for our 12 o'clock pretty much call. So that's fire too as well. Other than that, man, that's it, man. Got a lot of stuff to get done. What's that financial Spanish? I was working Spanish yesterday. Um I started to learn tan. Tan means so or whatever. I was working on that too as well. So that's a nice little word to learn from that. Was reading yesterday, still working on that MBA book, the personal MBA. That was pretty fire too as well. On there, I was learning about what was I learning about on there? Something pulled from there. I put a lot of things. That actually inspired me to actually start getting into writing my newsletter, or creating my newsletter thing too as well. Let me open this up too as well to Q&As also too. Um, there we go. Put that right there in this corner. Boom. So I'll spit into any questions or things as we go through this. Remember, excuse my hair, I look crazy. Sorry. So let's dive into Genesis 4. So for people that don't know, Genesis 4 was about the story of Cain and Abel. All right, so if you know who Cain and Abel is, it basically, long story short, they're two brothers. They're actually the sons of Adam, if I'm not mistaken, and Eve. Um, Cain and Abel's a story about the two sons of Adam and Eve. All right. Cain is, I like to imagine. Thank you for the like too as well, whoever was subscribed to the channel too as well. But Cain and Abel, I would like to think King. When I imagine this story, I imagine King is a big husky dude who pretty much they said he works on the field, whatever. Boom, I try to think of like a farmer type of thing. And then Abe, I like to think of this kid who was just like probably frail, fragile, or whatever, and he just tends to the sheep or whatever, right? And they both give a pretty much a sacrifice to God, okay, or they give an offering to God. Now Cain, he just gives what does it say he gives actually when he's doing his offering? Um Cain actually offers him, where's that? I don't know about the fruit from the ground that he worked on. Okay, so Cain offers him fruit from the ground he worked on. Abel, on the other hand, um, he offers him pretty much like the firstborn of his flock. So it kind of reminds me of this, right? Like when you do tithes, right? Tithes, they said you give 10%, right? Now, somebody might be able to give $10. Some people might be able to get 100, give 100, right? But the person that gave $10, who knows? He could have only made $100 that day or that week, right? Going into it. The person who gave $100 probably made 1 million. So the person who made the $10, it's more significant because they gave a more percentage of what they had. So that's kind of, I guess, how God looked at Abel's sacrifice. Like, yo, bro, your sacrifice was way more, So, or had more thought in it. So God, chose Abel's. Cain got tight about that, right? My boy Cain got tight. He was jealous about it. He was upset. He was angry. And God was just like, bro, what's up? Like, you good? And he's just like, no, I'm good, whatever. Boom, turns around, kills Abel. It's like, nah, after that, killing Abel. God searching for him. Yo, where's your brother at? Where's your brother? I hear his cries from the ground. And Cain is just like, oh, am I my brother's keeper? Do I know, bro? Like, do I know his every whereabout? Trying to get smart with God. And then God, obviously knew that he already killed him. So he's just like, bro, come on. So then after that, he basically puts a curse on him, shuns him away, but he doesn't kill him though. God still shows mercy for him and shuns him away. And then it talks about his basically his timeline of people. So that's pretty much the chapter of Genesis 4, right? So let's look into some things that we learned from it. All right. So first, 4:3, right? Cain brought an offering. Like I said, Genesis does not explain how the practice of sacrificial worship began, right? But it's clear that Adam and Eve's two sons understood the custom. Some people assume that Cain's offering was unsuitable because it was not a blood offering, and blood is required for the forgiveness of sins. And that they talk about that in Hebrews 9:22. But nothing in this chapter indicates that Cain and Abel were coming to God for forgiveness. Sacrifices were acts of worship. As such, a bloodless offering was not necessarily inappropriate. And that's in Leviticus 6:14-23. Apparently, the deficiency was in Cain's heart, not in the actual offering. Abel's offering was more excellent than Cain's because of his faith in the Lord, right? So they're basically saying he offered more, Cain, like I said, it was like he didn't put the thought behind it, right? Intention is everything. Intention is everything, right? Let's say I have a coworker that needs a ride home. Okay, and it's, or some guy he has a coworker that needs a ride home, and it's a woman. He could be doing it just off of the strength of just like, yo, I see you taking the bus every day. You know what I mean? I feel bad for you. Boom, boom, boom. Or it could be in the sense of, oh, I'm trying to get her. I'm trying to mess with her. Or I'm trying to sleep with her. Right? Two different. They're both doing the same thing. Both getting rides home, but it's the intention or the heart behind it. So God appreciated Abel's intention and heart behind it. Right now, but Abel, Genesis chapter 4, verse 4, but Abel brought an offering of the finest firstborn of his flock and the fat portion. See, God cares about heart. This is me going back into that again too as well. Intention, 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 right? Boom. I'm teaching you guys things I'm learning from the Bible with my intention of me learning it more, right? Me learning it more, me connecting it to leadership lessons that you could possibly even use in your life to lead your life or lead in your business, right? This is my intention behind it. Now, my intention also could be if I was doing, oh, I'm just doing this so that I could get more followers, I can get more, you know what I mean? It's intention behind it. What's the heart behind it? I believe in impact over money. And I believe money always comes when you have a stronger impact, right? When you really truly believe in this stuff. And I do believe this. I'm serious about my faith, but I want to teach you so I learn it more. You see what I'm saying? So there's intention or there's heart behind it. That's the important part, right? Now, on Genesis chapter 4, verse 5, but for Cain and his offering, he had no respect. So Cain became extremely angry, indignant, and he looked annoyed and hostile, right? Comparison kills joy. Okay. So I will never forget. What's the word I want to say? Oh, I had this new hire just now, right? I was talking to him on Saturday, and he was talking about how by the time he's 21, he wants a Tesla, he wants his own apartment. He actually wants that before 21. He just turned 19. So I said, hey, listen, in 3 years, you just started adulting, right? In 3 years, you want to have one of the most expensive cars out there, and you want to have your own apartment, right? Okay. I said, listen, bro. He's just like, no, because then if I feel like if I didn't do that, I didn't achieve enough. I said, all right, so listen. First of all, who are you going based off of? That's the first thing. I was like, bro, who's you going based off of? Right? The second thing is, I was like, bro, you were 18. When I was 18 or 19 years old, me, I was really, 18, 19 years old. I was going to Dell Tech. All I worried about was 18 years old, probably girls. All I was worried about was, um, you know, playing sports, basketball, stuff like that, right? I was worried about what my next meal was going to be because I was living in a room, one room with my brother and well, my two brothers. My sister was there too as well a lot of times. She had her kids with her sometimes. You know what I mean? Her boyfriend come over times too. And we're all living in one room, not one room apartment, one room, right? So I'm thinking, bro, you're 18 years old. You might be like sleeping in, you said, yo, your mom let you sleep in the basement, right? Okay, boom. You sleeping in the basement, bro. You got a whole basement to yourself, bro. Gratitude, right? I told him, I said, bro, when you focus so much, and this is true, when you focus so much on achieving, I need to do this and do this, you can fall into a form of depression because you think about, yo, I didn't achieve this already. I should be this already. You start to kind of like, basically, your mind plays tricks on you. And I'm trying to tell them, like, bro, be grateful for what you have now because when you are, God makes that list longer, right? And there's a famous, well, not famous thing, but there is a saying that I got from listening to Tony Robbins, one of his speeches. And he said, people they overestimate what they could do in a year, but they underestimate what they could do in a decade, right? So I'm 20 years old. My decade has just passed from when I was his age, 18 years old. And I was like, dang, when I was 18 going on 19, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna be the number one JUCO player. I'm gonna be this, da, 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 da. I'm gonna go to the D1, then I'm gonna go to the NBA. That's the things I was thinking, right? Right. And that whole year, I didn't achieve that. I did make it to the JUCO All-Star game, which was fire, but like I didn't achieve all those things that I said that I wanted to achieve. Right. But then I think, right, going back, I was thinking like, yo, I didn't achieve all those things. Okay, that's fine. But then going back, I sat here and thought, like, you know what? I did, but what I did do though is over this past decade, right? I played college basketball, which is a blessing. I think the percentage is like it's like a super low percentage, whatever, of people that play college basketball. So yes, I play college basketball. What's the second thing I did too as well? Besides playing college basketball, I also graduated from college, right? A lot of people graduate from college too as well. I actually, personally myself, I don't know too many people in my family who have. Boom, so I graduated from college. Not only that, um, I ended up working for a retailer, ended up growing up the positions, end up going to making a career out of it, right? Making over six figures, being able to look over multi units, right? Learning how to, not even that, but learning how to run a business, you know what I mean, from people who have done it, people who have grown businesses, right? That's another amazing thing too as well. Another thing I've also did is I got closer with, the Lord. Now I know that, Amplified Bible helps me with my studies, right? I didn't have that stuff before. I wasn't really as close with God before, you know. I got married. I ended up buying, we have a condo together. We financed my first car, building my credit back up, saving money, which I sucked with savings before. Started a business. I spoke at multiple schools and nonprofits, spoke at Delaware School for Business. So like, I overestimated what I could do in 1 year, but in a decade, bro, I achieved a lot at 28 years old already. And it still to me is like just the beginning, but I am grateful for it though. So don't compare yourself to other people though. And this is not another thing for you to try to compare yourself to me or, whatever it is, because I know there's other 28-year-olds who freaking, what, already millionaires, right? And I'm still not even a million. I'm still a thousandaire or whatever, right? But I am also grateful for what I achieved. So don't do that because when you compare yourself, you get to the point of Cain, where he ended up killing his brother. I'm not saying you're going to do that, but you get to that, right? And then we look at Genesis chapter 4, verse 7. If you do well, believe me in doing what is acceptable and pleasing to me, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, but ignore my instruction, sin crouches at your door. Its desire is for you to overpower you, but you must master it. So, two things that you can get from this, right? First one is rejection is a test. Okay, I'll tell you this. When I was at my last retailer, there was this guy who he believed he should have been the district manager, but then I ended up getting promoted over him. There was actually a few people on my team that thought that, and they've been doing it for years. And like, yo, they should have been promoted over me. Boom, boom, boom. So with him not getting it, they really wanted to see how he was going to react. And the dude is like, well, obviously not see how he could react. He just didn't get it. They just wanted to give him constructive criticism. Instead, the guy started getting worse. He started stealing from the company, doing all this crazy stuff. And they were like, see, this is why we did not pick you, right? I, for my personal thing, I also put my name out the hat to try to, grow in the company. Someone else ended up getting a position, which is totally fine. Someone who's way more qualified and stuff like that. And this is all too without even them even, interviewing me, we doing any type of talking, anything. It just straight was that. That's okay. That's fine. What I did was I was like, listen, I learned my lesson. There's still some things I need to work on. I need to learn that. I know there's a lot of things I still need to definitely learn. I'm still young, stuff like that. So I ended up taking it the right way. I'm over here accepting, the people leadership with, open hands, doing anything that they tell me to do. Not anything, but you know what I mean? Like I'm being a good employee, right? Um, and that's because I know that like, yo, there's still things that I need to learn. And this is also another opportunity to learn even more. So yes, rejection is like I said, rejection is kind of like a test. It's not really, and it may be also God telling you, like, listen, this is not for you right now, but it may be because God has something else in store, bigger in store for you. But He has to make sure you're ready for it, right? So the next time you get rejected, I want you to remember that, God thought that it wasn't meant for you, but He might have something else bigger planned for you. He might be like, yo, listen, I don't need you to help run someone else's business because I know I'm about to make you have your own multiple businesses. You see what I'm saying? So be prepared for what God has for you. All right. Second thing is mastering your inner emotions, right? You're going to let me say this, right? I remember there's this influencer. His name's Dan Locke. He talks about the idea of this thing called EQ. Everybody that's here, welcome here too as well. Subscribe to the channel, ask me anything you want. Like the video, like the stream. Welcome everybody. But Dan Locke, he talks about the idea of EQ, right? Instead of IQ. IQ is obviously what know up here. EQ is emotional quotient, right? Your ability to control your emotions. A lot of people really don't have this ability, right? So being angry is not a sin, right? To be angry. Obviously, everyone gets angry. What actually is a sin is what you do with that anger. You see what I'm saying? So you must learn to master your emotions, right? I remember when I had a cut from the basketball team, my 10th grade year, my trainer told me, hey, listen, remember everything that you taught inside or learned inside, and then, take that over to it. What's the subject matter? Right now, I'm going over lessons learned from Genesis 6, right? Some of the notes that I have from it. Um, Judo Planet, and welcome to as well. Angry Man 4. Hey, what do you talk about? I'm talking about lessons learned from Genesis chapter 4, from the notes that I studied from it too as well. All right. So then we go to or chapter 4, verse 8, right? When it says he killed him. The murdering was stunning in its lack of precedence, its suddenness, and its finality. Jesus spoke of his ghastly event as a historical fact. Okay. Um, let's actually read Genesis 4, chapter 8. He says, Cain talked with Abel's brother about what God has said, and when they were alone working in the field, Cain attacked Abel's brother and killed him. Right? This is again what I said, the results of unchecked emotions. If you do not, um, if you do not learn how to master your emotions, you may react instead of acting, if that makes sense, right? And your reaction may not be in the best thing. This is why, listen, I don't hate the brain. I love bringing it to sports, right? Go Birds. I'm an Eagles fan. If you're not an Eagles fan, man, it's okay. Just don't hate on us. But the thing I like about Jalen Hurts is he never gets too high, he never gets too low. He just had um the worst, the worst probably game he ever played in the NFL, and definitely by QB this season on Monday night. People are saying, or fans are saying, bench him. Media was saying, oh, I told you he was average, boom, boom, like all this hate and stuff. Jalen Hurts never goes, oh man, I feel bad for myself. Boom. He just says it's on me. Goes back in the next week and then he perfected. And now we had a freaking beautiful, we had a perfect passer rating if Goddard didn't drop that. And we blew a team out 31-0. Now, granted, it was the Raiders, but it's the NFL at the end of the day. They also beat the Patriots too. You see what I'm saying? So you end up having to understand that like you have to be able to control your emotions and master your emotions. On Jetto Planet says emotional intelligence only taught me that life is easier if you're dumb and ignorant. Um, Life is easier in a sense of maybe you're thinking like it's easier in the sense of like they don't have to, you're saying if you're dumb ignorant, you don't gotta think about it, right? But in the end, people that are ignorant or quote unquote dumb that you're saying, they never end up getting what they want. You know what I mean? Or they're not fulfilling their purpose, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. Okay. Um, Jado Planet, some people deserve a reaction. I don't I don't disagree, right? Sometimes, you may feel like you need to give a reaction to some people, but I'm big on the idea of like a lot of times you like it's hard to explain, right? Like me, I think about that, but then sometimes I think like not everybody does, bro. At the end of the day, it's just like, yo, let people talk. Cause whenever people are attacking you with something, it's basically an outer showing of what they feel on the inside already. So it's kind of like they're showing you what they already did. Um, Jado Planet, as men, we are quickly reminded of the pecking order amongst peers. Some issues are irrelevant, others require direct action and an example to be made. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more not passive in the sense of like I won't um address the issue, but I mean more passive in the sense of like it's just not that deep a lot of times for me. Linda Lawrence says hi. Hey, what's going on, Linda? Lawrence, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this stream now. But that pretty much concluded Genesis 4. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna get live. I'm being going live every single day, going over each chapter of the Bible for about 20 minutes or so. Um, Thank you for everybody that joined. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.